Okay, we're going to be disassembling the A&K SPR NOD1, otherwise known as the A&K SPR NOD1, but the box says NOD1, so I'm just going to call it NOD, NOD1. First off, to remove this, the upper and lower receiver, it's going to be a little more difficult than with plastic airsoft guns because this is full metal and there's going to be a lot more resistance and friction with all the parts. And plus, it works a little different than some of the other airsoft rifles. Okay, I pre-removed some of the things, but first off, there's this little bolt right here. There's a screw, it looks like this, that originally held it in. You're going to need an Allen wrench to remove that. Was about 3/32 size, so that's 3/32. That's the size of the Allen wrench you're going to be needing to remove this little bolt. So what we're going to do for this, and this particular bolt is going to have a lot of resistance, so it's going to take a little bit of force, but some screwdrivers are a little too thick for it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a thicker Allen wrench. I'm just going to put it right there, and you just tap it lightly with a hammer. And we should have it out. Make sure to have a place designated for all these small parts. Okay, and we remove that. That's my Allen wrench. And like I said, have a designated spot for all these small parts so you don't lose them. Next step is quite the same. There is a little bolt that goes in there. You don't have to unscrew anything. You just use a smaller Allen wrench, much like this one, and you put it on top and use the hammer. Same idea as before. And what you'll get is this thing right here. This will have a bit of resistance as well. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. You see, this little piece goes in that hole right there. Keep in mind, it can only go out one way. You cannot just pick a random direction to hit it. It has to be towards the left side of the gun. You cannot hit it that way. You have to hit it that way. Otherwise it won't come out and you'll just end up damaging the part. So that's going to go in the pile of stuff over there. Now, like most guns, you just remove those few parts right there and it pivots up to outfolds the upper and lower receiver, but the A&K SPR does not work like that. Next, we're going to have to remove this thing right here, and again we're going to use the 3/32 size Allen wrench to do that. And this one shouldn't have as much resistance, and you'll know when it's off here, because the lower receiver will slide back that way. I just use this hammer to push down on the hole to remove the forward bolt, and watch as I pull it out. The receiver opens. Now what you're going to notice is it's kind of spring loaded right here. That's because this gun no longer uses tabs like in the A&K S System M4. Tabs are what made the upper and receiver break, and they fixed that by using this other idea. So basically we just slide it back And then the upper and lower receivers are detached from each other. Get a good look of everything here. You may notice this thing is missing right there. It doesn't affect much anything. It just looks like a little piece of it fell off. I don't know how, I don't know where. No big deal. And next, we're going to move towards the forward receiver. To extract the barrel and the hop-up system, you simply just pull it back. Here's the barrel. That is the spring. And that is the hop-up mechanism with the bucking and the other components of the hop-up system. I would recommend, if you want better accuracy, get a Sistema brand upgrade for the entire hop-up system and a tighter diameter barrel. And to put it back in, you simply just align it and you slide it in. And it's very simple. Now we're moving back to the lower receiver. Be careful not to put any metal parts near this because the motor is like a magnet for some odd reason. And you don't want any parts flying around because of that. Now to remove the gearbox, or the mech box as some people call it, you're going to need to flip it over. And there's this little screw. This is the release for the magazine. There's a screw right there. You're going to want to unscrew that. Once you unscrew it, be careful. The screw in there does come out and you don't want to lose that. So put that with the other small parts, and there is a small spring. This helps the mechanism work. And we're going to flip this over. And a little piece like that should just fall out. One thing you may have to do to remove the mech box or gearbox, whichever you call it, is find a screw inside here. It's a Phillips, and you need a rather long screwdriver. You're going to have to unscrew that, and this part will come off, as well as a little plate right here. Now keep in mind, it's a big pain to get it back on. It took me like a good 10-15 minutes just to kind of screw in the threads. You may notice the little thing right here looks like a rivet. That's just for decoration, I believe. I don't think it actually holds anything in, so don't worry about that. Next, we're going to move into the motor. For the motor, you don't need to deal with that flat head piece. You just want to remove this Phillips and that Phillips screw. And once that's open, it'll show the motor. Now that I have that piece, which was the motor cover, off, the motor is plainly exposed, and you can see the positive and negative wire. To remove the motor, you're going to have to decouple the attachments right here and right here. The motor is also spring loaded, I guess you can say. This is for when you want to adjust the motor over time. You will need to do that, but that's not any concern right now. With the couplings off, you should be able to easily extract the motor as such. And it is a long type motor, as you can see. No writing on it really. It's got some sort of Japanese or Chinese symbol somewhere, but that's not any concern. So we're going to go ahead and put that over. Actually, you know what? Let's put this over here, because remember, it is like a magnet. You don't want the little pieces flying everywhere. And let's see here. Yes, that's right. You can see that there is more screws down there. To remove the mech box or gearbox, you're going to have to remove those screws, and they will be kind of a pain to put back in. But if you're going to remove the mech box, that is a required step. You can now see with the grip detached, the exposed red and black wires to the mech box, which give power to the mech box. So now we have that off. I believe the last step is to remove the stock. Removing it is easy, but putting it back on is a pain in the kisser.